If you use paprika in your kitchen and you grow a garden, did you know that you can grow, dry, and grind your own paprika powder? Today I'm going to show you how I do just that, from the selecting of the peppers all the way to growing the peppers to harvesting to grinding for my own spice. I've been doing this for years, but the most confusing thing to me, especially when I got started, was selecting the right type of pepper to grow for paprika. If you do an internet search, you'll find that paprika can be made from all sorts of peppers, even red bell peppers. The thing is that mild or sweet pepper varieties contain a recessive gene that eliminates or greatly reduces capsaicin, the compound responsible for heat. And these peppers are what most sweet paprika spices are made from. But some forms of paprika contain blends with hotter peppers like poblano. The blends really are endless across the world if you look at it. For simplicity's sake, for me as a home gardener though, I decided to select 2 peppers from seed catalogs that specifically listed paprika in its name. I figured I couldn't go wrong with that, right? So let's take a look at how I grow my own paprika and use it for spice. Next, paprika. There are different types of peppers that you can grow to create your own paprika. The first is called the Hungarian paprika. It is a smaller fruit with thinner walls, and I have found it to be a little bit more fussy in the garden. It hasn't produced as prolifically as the other peppers that I grow, and so I decided last year to also try a different kind of paprika called the Alma paprika. Now, the Alma paprika is very different in that the shape of these paprika peppers is very different from the other ones. It's round, and not only that, the walls of these peppers are very thick, which is really a good thing because for the amount of peppers that I'm able to get off of the plant, I'm actually able to get more spice out of that because the walls are so thick. I have found both types of paprika peppers to be a little bit harder to grow. When we get the paprika peppers in the kitchen, if you grow the Alma paprika, because the walls are so thick and because of the shape of the pepper itself, I've just found that I cut it differently. Instead of splitting it in half and quartering it, I cut it more like I do a bell pepper around the core. But other than that, I still try to use the same method, and as much as I can try to cut them in uniform size pieces. They are going to shrivel up, but I want to try to make sure that they dry at about the same rate as each other. If in this case I also have the Hungarian paprika that is going to be dehydrated at the same time, I will usually keep it in larger chunks to make up for the largeness of the paprika Alma peppers. As you can see on a close-up of these Alma paprika peppers, the walls are extremely thick. And that's one reason I really enjoy growing these and using them for paprika spice in my pantry. Next, they go into the dehydrator, and one thing that I usually do have to do with these Alma paprika peppers is I usually have to take out one of the trays in the dehydrator above the tray I'm putting in just because they are so thick and I need that extra space. So that's really the only thing that I have to do different when I'm dehydrating these paprika peppers. They still are going to dehydrate at 125 degrees, but I have found that they typically take a little bit longer to dehydrate, again, just because they're a little bit thicker. If you grow a paprika pepper like the Hungarian, they obviously are not going to require as much time. Either way, you want to check it every few hours just to see the progress. And again, the way that you know that they are ready is they tend to be a little bit brittle and they can snap easily. That shows that they are ready to be stored, and if you would like to go ahead and grind them. After they are dehydrated, it's time to either put them in a jar and save them the way they are, like we did with the cayenne peppers, or you can go ahead and grind them. At this time, I needed some more paprika. I had just used the last paprika that I had from last year's harvest, so I needed to go ahead and grind what I had. One thing I have noticed too about paprika that hasn't always been the case with the other spices is that it does tend to get fine and powdery, and sometimes I take a coffee brush just to be able to get every last bit out of the coffee grinder. Volume-wise, you can see that with just a couple of dehydrator trays, I was able to get a small jar of paprika spice. But just to give you an idea of volume of what you might be able to expect, I grew, I think, about 4 plants for this amount.
Of course, where you live and how your crops end up growing and maturing, and from season to season, this can vary, but at least that will give you kind of an idea if you're trying to decide how many to plant about what you might be able to expect.
One thing you can do, especially if you're really into paprika and trying fun things, is to experiment with different peppers and pepper blends to find the unique paprika you enjoy the most. But if you're into the more simple ways of doing things, choose a paprika pepper in your favorite seed catalog and enjoy growing one more delicious spice in your garden. For more on how to grow your own food in your own garden, including herbs and spices, be sure to like this video and subscribe to get future updates for videos coming up. And if you're a podcast listener, check out my podcast, The Beginner's Garden Podcast.